Welcome to High School Sports Unlimited. It's another week number 4 of the high school football season, and thank you so much for being with us and tuned in. I am Judd Hickenbotham. He's the more important one over there. He's Morgan Lee. He is the sports editor for AccessNorthGA.com. Wow. He knows everything that's going on in every area. How you doing, man?
A little worried now. God, I got to know everything. Jeez,
you are the linchpin. You are the main man as far as everything is concerned.
That's a scary thought.
I'm good at bumping people up, getting their energy up. All right.
Setting me up for the fall.
That's exactly right. All right, we got a lot of things to get to today. A very busy week number 3, obviously. Some teams making moves, some teams with some big humbling losses, and some teams getting ready for this week's games because there are some very important and some very large games in week number 4. We got our player of the week, of course, and we'll sit down and talk with a coach as well. In fact, that's coming up here in just a minute. Let's focus on what happened last week and get things started with Chestatee. Chestatee High School against Johnson, a big win for the War Eagles. They're now 2-0 on the year. 46-13 was the final score in this one, Morgan. And, the offense really had it going, particularly in the third quarter in this ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, Chestatee just really, they started to kind of get some distance between themselves and Johnson in the second quarter, and then they just blew it out in the third quarter. I think 25 points there.
Almost 200 yards of offense, boy.
Yeah, they just, talking to Coach Stan Luttrell from Chestatee, and he was saying about how nice it is that they've got a lot of different options now on that offense. They've got a lot of different weapons, and in the past it'd been one or two guys that had to do the bulk of the work, and now they've got so many different people that are dangerous. At the start of the season, he was quietly confident that he had something working there, and it looks like he very much knew what he was talking about as the way things stand right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan DeGraff is a very good quarterback. He went 4 for 9 with 142 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. It's the running backs that really kind of make this thing go. Montre Tate, Brandon Thompson. Thompson really showed some speed in the game, and also Quan Clark. So they got 3 guys that can really run the ball, as well as Jordan DeGraff, who does a pretty good job running it and running the offense. Well, our cameras were there to capture what happened in Chestatee's big win against Johnson. And Mr. Morgan Lee, after the ball game, got to sit down and talk with Stan Luttrell, the head coach of the Chestatee War Eagles, who are now 2-0.
Congratulations, Coach. First off, moving to 2-0, you're pretty pleased with what you saw last week. What do you think about this week's performance?
Well, I think we got better in some places, and obviously we had some other things show up that we need to get better on for next week. Real proud of how our guys came out in the second half. I think we played a real good second half. Defense played faster and got better, and really just proud of, again, a total effort from offense and defense. We had some problems with our special teams that will get better next week.
Look like defense is being pretty opportunistic there. Talk about their ability to take the ball away.
Well, we want to force 3 or more turnovers every game, and I think we met that goal tonight. We believe that we fly to the football and great tackles, turnovers happen, and that definitely happened tonight.
Your new running back, obviously, you talked about he was a pretty quick kid. Got a chance to see him for the first time. He's extremely fast. Talk about what that speed brings to your offense.
Well, Brandon's explosive. He's one of the fastest kids in the state, and he's really fitting in well here at Chestatee, and we're proud to have him, and I know he's proud to be a War Eagle.
Sitting here at 2-0, you look ahead. What do you think about being 2-0 at this point in the season?
We're excited. It's exactly where we want to be, and we want to be 3-0 next week. We have a long season ahead of us. I think we got to continue to build our depth and continue to get better, and that's.
So there you go, headman Stan Luttrell and the Chestatee War Eagles putting a number on the Johnson Knights. Johnson, I'm going to give Johnson some love here. One guy in particular. First of all, A.J. Millwood had a very good game, 115 yards rushing. Cedric Harris, though, you look at the roster for Johnson, and it's maybe 40 guys. I think it's less than that. So you got a lot of guys going both ways. Cedric Harris is the tailback. He's the safety. He's the punter. He's the punt returner. And he even blocked an extra point in the game. The kid did not leave the field more than like 2 or 3 plays the entire time. If Johnson's going to be successful, you need a whole bunch of Cedric Harrises, right?
Well, absolutely. I think any team to be successful, you need a whole lot of Cedric Harris. He's a pretty amazing player, and the fact that A, he does everything, but B, it never looked like he tired in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still going full speed. even in the fourth quarter there, and that's pretty incredible considering the amount of plays that he actually put in last week. And Johnson is one of those teams where it's just like you feel like they're so close to breaking through and being 2-2, 4-0 really. I mean, or 3-0, but they've just whenever something really important comes on, a turnover, a penalty at the wrong time, it just seems to bite them. And I know a lot of that is just when you're not used to winning a lot, it's hard to get over that hump. And my hat's off to them because they're certainly a well coached team and they fight with everything they got. And they really should have a better record than what they show.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. It's a great point on Cedric Harris in particular, and really that entire team. They were playing hard into the fourth quarter for Paul Friel. 2 out of the 3 losses, though, it's come down to one big quarter. It happened against East Hall, and it happened again against Chestatee. All right, moving on. Flowery Branch gets a big win against Appalachia. It was a shootout last year, and at first it didn't look like it was going to be quite a shootout this season, but Flowery Branch's offense ends up putting up 42 points. Candler Coker over 300 yards of total offense, and they blow out Appalachia 42-20.
Yeah, they did. It was, like you said, it was a scoreless first quarter, which is hard to believe between these two offenses, but the Candler Coker, he just apparently had what Coach Shaw called, the coming out party. Just a really impressive game, finding different receivers, and spreading the ball around through the air and pulling it down and running it when he needed to. It sounded like it was just a really solid performance all around from that offense against the best team they had faced to this point.
Yeah, exactly. We talk about Buford and how they have so many different offensive guys, and so you never have the really big numbers. It's kind of like that with Flowery Branch, but at the same time, you have 3 or 4 guys that I think they're kind of switched having monster games, because you see Casey Osborne, who was there last year, had a big game this week. I think Jeremy Harley, being the kind of the feature back on the team, is going to continue to have a lot of big numbers too.
Yeah, I wrote Sunday afternoon and posted it late Sunday for Monday that Jeremy Haley is just it's almost to his detriment that you just expect those kind of games now. He hasn't we haven't done a feature yet on Mr.
Right.
Haley. Don't worry, one's coming.
Yeah.
That he puts up those kind of games. I mean, 136 yards rushing, 14 carries, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, for most backs, that would be unbelievable. For him, that's kind of average now. And for someone who we didn't really even know before last year, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And Flowery Branch is pretty impressive in general. So it was a 21-14 game in the third quarter, but then Flowery Branch really kind of took off, and they won 42-20. Our cameras were at the East Jackson-Banks County game. East Jackson ended up getting the win of this one. 35-7 was the final score, Morgan. And, Banks was trying to do something they hadn't done in, 15 years or around 13 to 15 years. That's go 3-0. Didn't really happen for them in this one.
No, they ran into a bit of a buzzsaw. East Jackson was ready. They're coming off a disappointing loss, and the East Jackson. I mean, you talk about Tyler Collins, their quarterback had 17 carries for 183 yards, and the running back C.J. Allen had 19 carries for 169 yards.
Wow.
They are a run heavy team, and when they get that thing going, they can run on just about anybody. And like I said, they were ready for a bounce back game. Starting because this week for them starts the sub-region schedule. So came at a good time for East Jackson. Banks County, obviously disappointing loss, but they got plenty of chances to bounce back from that one.
Yeah, I think they'll be doing just fine. In other action around the area, Prince Avenue Christian beats Lakeview Academy by a 42-7 final score in that one. So Lakeview is yet to win a game this year. Stevens County beats Oconee County 38-10. That's a pretty big win for Stevens County. It was trying to get back to kind of where they were last year and take that next step. It was Ballard Christian winning 65-8 over North Georgia Christian. North Oconee shuts out Commerce 33-0 was the final in that one. So there's some other action around the area. Some other pretty big games, including one on ESPN, which we have to mention coming up. North Hall goes down to Atlanta, has a little bit of trouble, which we thought they might. We'll talk about that game as well. Plus, we have your Player of the Week coming up. A lot more on this hour-long show. High School Football Week number 4 is just about upon us. More after this on High School Sports Unlimited.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Ron Wilson. At Wilson Orthodontics, we've helped thousands of people just like you get that perfect, healthy smile they've always dreamed of. And we do that by using state-of-the-art orthodontic technology. Children and adults love our exciting Georgia Bulldogs game room.
Come in and experience the atmosphere.
Our team is the best around, and they treat all our patients like they're part of the family.
They were so nice to me.
Call us today to schedule your free consultation, and I look forward to seeing you here soon.
Welcome back to High School Sports Unlimited. We record this show on Wednesday afternoon, and you can see it on AccessNorthGA.com on WDUN TV. And then replay will be on 1240 ESPN Radio. It's 1240 a.m. if you did not know. On Thursday at 6 p.m. and then Friday at 3 p.m. getting you ready for high school football each and every week. Morgan and I will be. You're not going to miss any weeks, are you?
I hope not.
Okay. Me neither. Just making sure.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a sickly guy, you know. With
sickly,
with small kids at home. So
I'm not sickly. Okay. I just happen to be around two little walking germ receptacles.
There you go.
Well, one walking.
All right, coming up in a little bit, we'll have previews of some games to really talk about this weekend, week number 4, including a pretty big rivalry around these parts. Also, we're going to have your player of the game, but let's get back to some of the action from this past Friday, and we will start. Dude, we got to get some Habersham Central games, buddy. They play some high-scoring, high-drama games. Once again, Hab Central, they come out and they beat Salem 43-39. This is a game, though, they trailed by, 11 points with 3 minutes to go, but they come back, and it's that quarterback once again for Hab Central.
Yeah, Kevin Ellison has just been, on point all season, over 700 yards of offense. I think it's like 526 yards rushing so far. 14 touchdowns on the year, I do believe.
Is it really?
It's either 14 or 13.
Wow.
And he is. He's been a man among boys, and he didn't key all that by himself on Friday night, but he was a big part of it through the winning touchdown pass with just under a minute to play to Zach Franks, and I mean that was kind of the capper from a crazy finish. Salem had the ball at Habersham's basically won with about 3 minutes to play. Habersham forces a fumble, recovers it, goes 99 yards or roughly for a touchdown. Onside kick called back because of being offside. Do it again. They get it, a second onside kick, and they get it. Go right down the field. Ellison actually has to leave the game with a hurt non-throwing hand.
Really?
Yeah. Comes back in one play later, throws the winning touchdown pass, and then Salem actually gets all the way down to Habersham's 30, and with 5 seconds to go, and Habersham holds them out of the end zone. It was just you talk about drama.
Yeah, the biggest part of that, when you do an onside kick once, and then you got to go do it again, and so that everybody knows it's coming, and you still get it. So literally the bounce of the ball is going your way.
Yeah.
One thing to be worried about if you're a Hab Central fan, second week in a row they've blown a lead. Last week they lose. This time they were up 34-7 in this ball game and had to fight and have some miracle finish.
Yeah, it's offensively I think they've proven they can put up points on anybody. defensively, they've had some problems, completely shutting people down. The Cedar Shoals game a couple weeks ago was really painful loss for them, and Appalachia scored 35 points on them in the opener. So, obviously they're looking for ways to shut things down on defense, and they knew it was going to be tough this season just because they're not as athletically gifted as some of the teams are going to play. But at the same time, they've got enough talent on offense, and certainly they've shown that they can pull it out if they need to. And it may be a Malox moment every Friday night up there, but as long as they keep winning, I don't think they're going to care.
Yeah, if you want to buy stock in Malox, go up to Habersham Central, or Habersham County in general, because they really might need it. For you Kevin Ellison fans, by the way, you'll be hearing from him a little bit later on. All right, let's get to some other action. Buford blows out Yulee, Florida. I don't know if anybody in the world was surprised by this. I think I saw somewhere on Friday that said, man, who would have thought this would happen? I actually thought it was going to happen. 49-7, Buford ends up getting the win. Our cameras were at this ball game. You got, they get 433 total yards, just 156 for Yulee. Yulee was just I know they had the stud running back, Derrick Henry. Besides that, they were really undermanned coming in this one, right?
Yeah, just listening to this one on the radio on Friday night, it sounded about as one-sided as you can get. And
Gene and Tony are telling old stories from 5 years ago by the third quarter in that one.
Yeah, I'm surprised, frankly, that it was a little late for Gene. I'm kind of surprised he wasn't already in bed by then.
He was sleepwalking. He was sleep-talking in the fourth quarter.
I think we all would have been by the way that game was going. It was Buford just, they outmanned so many teams, and they certainly outmanned Yulee, and Henry still got a decent amount of yards, but that was it. And
one big run really for him, right?
Yeah,
76-yard touchdown run. That was it.
Yeah, and frankly, I don't see anybody playing Buford extremely close during the regular season. Although Leavitt next week will be a pretty good test, and GAC down the road, but I don't think it should surprise us by any shape, form, or fashion that they dominated once again.
Yeah, exactly, and maybe they will not be tested. They could be, Lovett's a pretty good team. GAC's ranked top 5, so maybe they can get tested, but it might be the playoffs before they really get tested again. One thing about this game, 10 different players rushed the ball, and Vidal Alexander, a la the refrigerator Perry, gets a chance to rush for a touchdown.
It was such a strange play, too, from the sound of it. It was like, he lateraled it, but it looked like Sam Clay, the quarterback, looked like from what I understand, it looked like he stood up to throw a forward pass and ended up throwing a backwards pass, and it bounced off the turf. But it was right to Alexander, and he just picked it up and ran in. So very, very strange, but sounds like Buford being Buford, that's something they probably worked on for a while.
They probably did. If we mess up, just give it to the big man. He can put it in. By the way, we got to mention Sam Clay, 10 of 14 for 177 yards and a couple of touchdowns. So sometimes the quarterbacks for Buford don't get enough love, but there you go. Sam Clay, a very good game. All right, Fannin County beats Jackson County 28-20 is the final in this one. Fannin run back the opening kickoff, and they just Jackson County the entire time playing from behind. Give them credit. They stuck right with Fannin County for the most part, but never could quite get over the hump in that one.
Yeah, Fannin County is one of those teams that, every year you feel like, maybe somebody can knock them off this year, because they've been at the top of that perch in the north half of 8AA for a while. And every year they find guys that they can plug into gaps and run that offense and do a good job of it. It looks the same thing this year. I wrote again, on Monday morning that, if you want to win the sub-region title in 8AA North, you got to go through Blue Ridge and beat Fannin County. They were the only team from the north half of the sub-region to win a game this Friday.
Wow.
So, yeah, that says a lot right there. Granted, like I said, the level of competition wasn't quite the same across the board, but still that says something. And, just a very solid team, top to bottom. They're going to punch you in the mouth and run right at you.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of a rough night for our producer, Scott McIntyre, by the way. He's a Jackson County fan, but they go down 28-20 is the final score in that one. It was actually a tie ball game, and in the third quarter, Fannin scores 14 unanswered and really kind of takes control there. All right, elsewhere, White County gets a win. They beat West Hall 26-7. This is a matchup of a couple of winless teams, so it's a pretty big win for White County to get on the board.
Absolutely. You got to start somewhere, and I just finished talking with Coach Bill Ballard up in Cleveland, and he was encouraged by what he saw from this game. Thought the kids are starting to kind of understand and basically just grow up. It's a very young team. Graduated a ton of seniors off last year's team, and now they're being asked to do something very different from what White County had been doing. So it's just going to take some time and some growing pains, and to get on the board with your first win. That's nice, and certainly they want to keep that momentum going into this week and through the season, because he feels like this is a team that can continue to improve each game, not like some of the older senior-laden teams where they always say the biggest improvements from game 1 to game 2. Mm-hmm. This team may improve just as much from game 4 to 5 and 6 to 7 because they're so young.
Well, meanwhile, West Hall, they have some improvement to do. Again, turnovers really kind of the problem for them. 4 in the game. Chandler Newton throws for 178 yards, but he was kind of running for his life in this one. He got sacked a bunch in the ball game. And when you only rush for 12 yards in the game, that's you're very one-dimensional and in some trouble.
Yeah, rarely. Occasionally you can see a high school team just throw the ball over the place and be successful. But if you're going to do that, you can't turn the ball over at all.
Yeah.
And that ended up biting them, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Rico Jones, a good running back, 12 yards, a little more than that. All right, Elbert County kind of humbles East Hall. East Hall comes in with a 2-0 record. Elbert, with all that tradition, actually has a pretty good football team once again this year. 48-0 was the final in this one.
Yeah, Tyshawn Dye, the quarterback the running back for the Blue Devils is just is a beast, and they've got and it's far from a one-man team. They've got size and speed everywhere, and talking to East Hall's coach before the start of the game, he was like, I think they're as good as anybody, say Buford in North Georgia. And after the game, he's, absolutely, they are. They're that good. But East Hall, hopefully, they learned a lesson that you can't come in slow against a great team like that, which hopefully will help them this week because they got another tough one.
Yeah, absolutely they do. We'll be talking about that game coming up. All right, North Hall goes down to St. Pius. Played a really good first quarter. It was tied 7-7, but Pius, man, they have so many weapons, and it starts with that quarterback. Trey White just did a massive game in that one.
Well, they just wear you down. They lean on you, and they run that option, and they may only get 2-3 yards, a carry for the first 2 or 3 quarters, and all of a sudden the fourth quarter, everybody's got their hands on their hips and they're busting big ones. Mm-hmm. It's a hard offense to play against, especially when they've got the kind of line that they've got. And North Hall played pretty well. They had a chance to make it 31-21 in the fourth quarter, and they felt like that they learned a lot from that game. And despite being 0-2, they're pretty excited about what they can do going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they do. They got a really big game again this week against Gainesville, which we'll mention a little bit. But Pius just a very, very good team, a top 5 team. You can definitely see why. Jefferson once again puts up big numbers. That offense just continues to roll. 42-14, they get a win against Dawson County, and they're getting some love from one voter somewhere in the polls. Jefferson's going to get more votes, by the way, but second week in a row they get their one vote.
Get their one vote. Yeah, I think if they can win this weekend, they'll really start to turn some heads. That's a team that, they were 42-0, I think, at the half in that game. Ended up winning 42-14. So they can obviously that offense can fly, and it'll be very interesting to see this weekend against another really athletically talented opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Jefferson, man, they can do it a whole bunch of different ways. One other score to mention: Hart County beats Union County 36-7. Hart's a pretty good team, as they normally are. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have your player of the week. Habersham Central fans, you want to pay attention, and we will take a look at the action coming up for week number 4. Some big-time matchups, some big-time rivalry games. High School Sports Unlimited rolling on. Thanks for being with us.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Ron Wilson. At Wilson Orthodontics, we've helped thousands of people just like you get that perfect, healthy smile they've always dreamed of. And we do that by using state-of-the-art orthodontic technology. Children and adults love our exciting Georgia Bulldogs game room.
Come in and experience the atmosphere.
Our team is the best around, and they treat all our patients like they're part of the family.
They were so nice to me.
Call us today to schedule your free consultation, and I look forward to seeing you here soon.
Hi folks, Butch Miller from Milton Martin Honda in Gainesville, and why you should get your next new car at Milton Martin Honda. First, a fantastic selection. We bought extra cars, so now we have the largest inventory in the area. Next, an incredibly low price. Plus, we'll give you more for your trade. Third, we'll treat you the way you like to be treated. Those three things combined, we call the Milton Martin Honda Advantage. So remember folks, if you think you can get a better deal on a better car at Milton Martin Honda in Gainesville, you got that right.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
All right, welcome back to High School Sports Unlimited. Second half hour underway. Judd and Morgan with you. We're going triple header action, by the way, for week number 4 as we enter the high school football week. And Yeah, we'll let you know what games are going to be on the air.
We need like the wrestling voice, triple header
action all day Friday. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Friday.
All right, Friday. That's right. All right, and Bigfoot will be there. Bring the wife, bring the kids. All right, we'll get to some of the action, some of the big games coming up this week, but it's time to get to your Gainesville JC's Player of the Week presented by Jacobs Media, and we are going back to Habersham Central. This kid is putting up some eye-popping numbers so far for this season, and that is quarterback Kevin Ellison. He gets the award courtesy of the Gainesville JCs, and Mr. Morgan Lee presented it to him.
All right, well, Kevin, just talk about the finish last week, the game last week. You've had 3 kind of crazy games in a row. Talk about what it's been like that to be involved in games like that.
Well, I think it's a good test for us. This team's we're matured a lot from where we were last year, and I think just our preparation and the way we came out and just handled things, our character and unity. That's our motto this year. And I think just all of us coming together as a team just brought us together and we were able to get things done.
Obviously teams know that you're going to have the ball in your hands. You're going to have the ability to make plays, but you've been able to do that regardless. Talk about what it's been like, as a playmaker this season for Habersham.
I think it all starts on the practice field. My coach is pushing me to just, Kevin, go full speed. All right, coach. But, yeah, just our preparation and me just be able to know the offense a little bit better and just knowing my players, my offensive line, my slots, and my receivers, just us all coming together just makes me be a better athlete and just be able to play my game.
What's the biggest difference in this team this year versus what y'all went through last season?
Maturity. Maturity is a big word because we only lost 1 offensive lineman, and the whole offensive lineman come back from last year. And I think that just our experience in this offense from last year, I think we just know what we're doing a little bit better and we're able to run it and be a little bit faster than we were last year. And I think all that comes together. And with me being able to throw the ball a lot better than I did last year helps a lot better too.
What's it going to take for this team to get in the playoffs this year?
Hard work every day, and you can't stop. Just because who the team is, you can't stop. We just got to keep playing hard and preparing for them Friday nights.
All right, Coach, Kevin, I appreciate it. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, there you go. Quarterback Kevin Ellison, who talks about maturity on the team. If you want maturity in one particular aspect, especially if you're a triple option kind of team, you want on the offensive line, and that's what they got.
Yeah, absolutely. The offensive line has played a key role. I mean, just across the board, really. I mean, you're talking about 19 seniors on a team. I mean, that's an impressive number and a real reason why they think they can get back into the playoffs this year for the first time since 2007. So, Kevin has had a great line to run behind this season so far, and a line to pass behind too, because that's really an improved part of his game is the passing aspect. He's I think he threw for 2 touchdowns last week.
Yes,
and
he moves faster than your mouth, actually.
Exactly. But no, when you've got a guy that everybody knows can run, and all of a sudden he can drop back and throw the ball on you, that really gives defenses something to think about and freezes a lot of guys. They can't react, and defense is all about reacting and moving quickly. And when you have to think, all of a sudden you're on your heels. So that's a big deal for that Habersham offense.
Do you know of any college prospects he might have? As a Georgia Tech fan, I'm a little interested in triple option quarterbacks.
As far as it goes, I do not know whether Tech has shown any interest. That's one question I neglected to ask yesterday. My head but
there's got to be some schools that are really.
I mean, an athlete like that, he'll end up somewhere. The kid is. I mean, not only is he an impressive athlete, but you saw right there, he's a pretty impressive young man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to show my age here, but I don't remember football players being that cut when I was in high school, man. Gee, that's 2 weeks in a row. It's like, geez, give me a break.
Yeah, the weight rooms are a much bigger deal now than when we were in school in the 90s.
Unbelievable. All right, so thanks to the Gainesville JCs for the Player of the Week. It's presented by Jacobs Media. All right, let's get to the action coming up this Friday, and we'll start with a big game. On paper, maybe not. You got an 0-2 team against a 1-1 team, but it's North Hall at Gainesville. The governor's going to be here. Nathan Deal going to be he's going to be flipping the coin there at the beginning of the thing. So, no, this is a huge deal for these parts. I mean, they start tailgating for this thing on like Wednesday nights, basically, and I mean, this is for bragging rights.
Yeah, you're talking about two groups that really don't like each other very much and have bred a fairly healthy. In fact, Bob Christmas said maybe unhealthy rivalry, but it's a very big deal for the two groups involved. And even though this year you're looking at 1-1 and 0-2, neither one of those, since those two have been put into the same region in 2002, there has been no other team to win a region title in the region that they're in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you know, because Gainesville 02 and 03, North Hall 04, Gainesville 05, North Hall 06 and 07, and Gainesville in 08, 09, 10. So you're talking about a very big deal. Just historically and obviously because a lot of the kids that are playing for North Hall, their parents went to Gainesville and then moved out into the county. So there's a lot of just kind of internecine warfare going on amongst these two.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know what that word means, but that's awesome. All right, I mentioned one of them's 0-2, one of them's 1-1, but still, there are a couple of pretty good teams. We'll start with Gainesville, who is 1-1. Their one loss, of course, was to Buford. Blowout loss. Their win was also a blowout. They blew out White County. It was turned out to get a win the very next week. So Gainesville's still very good. They're still a team that's I would think going to be ranked a majority of the season. And I guess if you have to put your bets on somebody, I mean, I guess they would kind of be the favored for this particular year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd probably make them the favorite coming in, but I mean, the thing with this game is you never know how it's going to go, and two very different styles of teams. Absolutely. Here. You've got Gainesville's wide open spread attack and North Hall's ball control wing T. I mean, if North Hall has their druthers, they'll win 10-0. Mm-hmm. If Gainesville gets things going, it'll be 40 to 30 or something like that. So who knows what kind of game is going to break out there on Friday night, and especially if it's going to be raining and cold, and the governor, who knows? It's going to be, you never know.
And the governor, the question is he coming out with a, you mentioned this, is it red tie, green tie, or is he just going to go beige? I think I'd go beige if I were
green and red together make what? Purple? No.
I don't know. Beige. I think it makes beige. And real quick about North Hall, they're 0-2, and they're coming off a loss to St. Pius, but I mean, they're kind of the X Factor team, and I really think this team has a chance to do very well this year. If the offensive line gels, you got that amazing talent in Amani Cross. And I really kind of like this team. I mean, I think they got a fair shot in this ball game.
Yeah, I think both defenses are going to be hard pressed to stop the opposing offense in this game because, as you said, I mean, Amani is just with the size and speed that he brings to the table is going to be really hard to tackle. Gainesville with the amount of speed and just different options, and Deshaun Watson at quarterback are going to be really hard to stop. So, I mean, this could well end up being, like I said, 40 to 30 or something like that, and just whoever's got the ball last.
Which might not be a good thing, you would think, for North Hall, but I think Trojans can definitely put up some points. So there you go. So the rivalry renewed. That one going to be on 1240 ESPN Radio. All right, moving on. Dawson County going to be at Chestatee. Pretty interesting ball game. Dawson is 1-2. They're coming off that loss to Jefferson, but that's no harm in losing to Jefferson at all. It's a very good team. This is a big game for Chestatee, a chance for them to move to 3-0 on the year after only winning 3 games all last year. They looked very good against Johnson. I mean, I think Chestatee's kind of licking their chops. They got this game at home this week.
I'm sure they are. Yeah, they understand that to move to 3-0 would be pretty impressive considering they won 3 games all last season. So to start out that way would be absolutely huge momentum-wise. But they also know that Dawson County is a good enough team that if they don't, play their best game, that they could lose that game because Dawson County's got a lot of talent. They've got a very good quarterback in Tyler Dominy, a very good fullback in Zach Martin, and a bunch of good receivers led by Bruce Clark. So it's going to be a tough order for Chestatee's defense to slow that down. But both teams obviously looking to. I mean, if Chestatee can go 3-0, that's huge. If Dawson can get back to 2-2, that's huge. So both teams have a lot riding in this game, I think.
And you talked to Coach Luttrell after the game last week. He says his goal is for the team to force 3 turnovers a game. See if they can do that against Dawson County. That one going to be on the air as well. FM 102.9 WDUN. Pregame for these games, by the way, 7 o'clock, kickoff 7:30. No more of these stinking ESPN games this year where they start at like midnight.
At least as far as I know.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
All right, here's the game that's going to rip Scott McIntyre, our producer's, heart apart. East Jackson and Jackson County. This rivalry gets renewed as well. East Jackson 1-2 on the year. Jackson County is 1-2. You got the new team against the newer school against the older school, but I guess they're forced a pretty good rivalry here.
Yeah, I mean they've only played once just because, like you said, East Jackson being a brand new program. But it's absolutely huge in that it's a sub-region game, and the sub-region schedule starts this weekend for 8AA South, and all these games are super important. But of course, it's more important because it's your neighbor, and it's going to be an interesting contest. I mean, you've got East Jackson, as I was saying earlier, who just run all over the place, and then you've got Jackson County, who's a bit more of a spread type of team and can throw the ball around with Kyle Daniels. So, some differing styles there could make for a very interesting matchup.
I think it could. Last year, East Jackson got the win 29-14. I know Scott McIntyre wants to go to this game. He's not going to know who to root for, have any idea. All right, we'll take a break, come back. We got a lot more to mention. Flowery Branch Falcons are going to be in action and on the air. That's on the way. High School Sports Unlimited rolls on. Thanks for being with us.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
All right, last segment of High School Sports Unlimited. Again, you can see us on WDUN TV, accessnorthga.com every Wednesday afternoon, right around 12:35, 12:37, whenever we can boot the news person out. It's funny because the entire morning I'm a news person, then come noon, we're like, get the news people out of here. We got better stuff to do.
Getting in the way.
That's right. Then you can check us on 1240 ESPN Radio, 6 p.m. on Thursdays and 3 p.m. on Fridays. All getting ready for the tailgate show. The Cotton Eye Joe's Tailgate Show at Wild Wing Cafe at Gainesville. That comes your way at 6 o'clock every Friday. Pre-game at the stadium, 7 o'clock, and then kickoff at 7:30. Again, we're going to have 3 different games on the airwaves, courtesy of Jacobs Media. It all starts this week. All right, let's get back to the games coming up on Friday, Morgan. And let's see, where you want to start. Maybe the best matchup, and maybe folks around Hall County, around Gainesville, not going to know a ton about this, folks in Gwinnett as well. Hart County at Jefferson is a majorly important game. It's a big game.
Absolutely, huge game. You're talking about Jefferson trying to get back into the playoffs after missing out last year. To do it, they're going to have to knock off Hart County. Hart County, a very good team from a year ago. I mean, that did make the playoffs, and Hart County is 2-1 at this point. Jefferson undefeated. 2 very athletic teams going at each other. I think. I mean, if I could just, if I didn't have any sort of things that I had to take care of here at the office, I'd be at that game.
You'd be at that game?
Yeah, that's going to be a huge game.
But you got to. Everybody knows you got to wash toilets on Friday nights, and you got to vacuum up and everything else. So there you go. You'll be doing that, and we'll let you know
of everything, baby.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I've been talking Jefferson up since the very first week of the season. I was very impressed with him. This is a major stepping stone. If they're able to win this game, and the game is at home, it's at Memorial Stadium. This could be a huge game for the Dragons of Jefferson to go to 4-0 on the year. All right, elsewhere, the Flowery Branch Falcons are in action. They are at home. They're going to be taking on Cedar Shoals. And, they passed their first real kind of test last week with Appalachia. Cedar Shoals, I guess over the last few years has not been anything major as far as football is concerned, but they're 2-1 coming into this game. They're coming off a big win against Rockdale County.
Yeah, they have, just typical 8-4A team and, a ton of speed. A ton of talent in the backfield with sophomore. Their best player is a sophomore fullback, Adrian Washington. The kid can. I mean, he had a huge game against Habersham Central in that big comeback win, and so Flowery Branch's defense is going to have to be wary. Going to have to try to keep them from busting any long plays, but certainly Flowery Branch's offense, I'm sure, is going to scare the daylights out of Cedar's defense. So just the thing about that 10-game region schedule is you got to be on every night.
Absolutely. If I'm the coach of any team taking on Flowery Branch, I put my defense in one room, put my offense in another room, go to my defense, say, you do whatever you can, and smile and leave, and go to the offense and be like, you better put up some points tonight.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You better put up a lot of points because we're going to need it more than likely.
Yeah.
All right, Flowery Branch going to be at home against Cedar Shoals. Falcon Field at Flowery Branch again, pregame 7 o'clock. Kickoff 7:30. We'll have this one on the air on AM 550. on WDUN. Habersham Central on the road. This is a tall order. The other Athens team, Clark Central, is in action. They're going to be at home. Billy Anderson Stadium over in Athens, GA. Hab Central 2-1 on the year. Clark Central is 1-1. They're coming off that loss to. Do we know anything about Heritage? They lost 21-14, but
yeah, Heritage is a pretty good team, obviously, this season. I think anytime that you can upset Clark Central, a big deal, because Clark has had their way past couple seasons. Habersham played Clark Central pretty tough last year for most of the way, and then it got away late on them. Certainly I think they're going to put up points on just about everybody. It's just, can they slow down Clark Central's offense enough?
Yeah, that's kind of the question. I mean, Clark Central, they have a lot of guys back. I mean, this, like you said, this is a team that's been good for a few years now, or really a lot of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially last season.
They got a couple junior standouts there, and Amir Williams, the receiver, and Marquez Williams, the running back, very good quarterback, and Cameron Johnson. So, just typical Clark Central team, just very athletically talented and gifted, and Habersham's gonna have to do its absolute best to contain those guys.
And they can't. I don't know if they're going to jump out. Hab Central. Hey, you never know. Maybe they could get out to a 34-7 lead like they did last week, or
get behind 34-7 and pull it back. So who knows?
You never know what to expect out of the Raiders up at Hab Central. So there you go. Hab Central's 2-1, and Clark Central is 1-1 in that game. Like you mentioned last year, it was close until late. Clark Central ends up winning it 38-14, and the Gladiators lead the overall series 19-5. Chance for the Raiders to get that 6th win in that series on Friday. All right, East Hall going to be on the road at Adairsville. The Vikings really humbled at Elbert County, 48-0. Again, that's another team that you're not shamed in losing. I think if you're a Vikings fan, if you're Brian Gray, I don't think you mind losing to Elbert County as long as you keep it close. It was the way they lost that just kind of, you got to make sure your team's not deflated after that.
Sure. I mean, after such a nice start, then that kind of stark reality of playing a team as good as Elbert County, that can be tough. But I think Brian Gray is pretty confident that his team is not going to have a oh my gosh type of moment and just freak out. The biggest issue is you're going on the road to face a team that's not much worse off than what Elbert County is in Adairsville. They've got a quarterback, Andrew Ward, who can run all over you, and it's another. I mean, to go on the road back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, who's making their schedule?
Well,
man?
Brian Gray, in fact, commented when I talked to him on the phone. He was like, I think we may need to have our heads examined or something, but.
Yeah.
At the very least, it's going to get them ready for the sub-region schedule, and even if you do drop that game and you're sitting there at 2-2, I think you still feel pretty good about what you got coming forward.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Elbert County and Adairsville, neither one of them are in their sub-region. Is that right?
No, not even in their. Yeah. I mean Elbert County's in the other half of the region. Adairsville's not even in their region.
Yeah. So losing to them is no big shakes, even if they were to lose this week. But good luck to East Hall. Hopefully they can go back and get themselves a win. They lost last year to them 49-28. The good news in that, though, is they were able to put up some points.
Well, that was a crazy back and forth game for a while there, which is like everybody, every time somebody got the ball, they were scoring. So it could be another game like that. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And East Hall showing they can put up some points this year as well. So good luck to Jamon Witt and the boys to get it done at Adairsville. Stevens County on the road. They're going to be at West Hall. Stevens is 2-1 on the year, coming off their big blowout win against Oconee County. They won 38-10 last week. West Hall is a team that really needs a win, but I think you and I both kind of saw Stevens County as a team to kind of reckon with this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Behind junior running back Chaz Thornton. I mean, I got a chance to see him last year, and he's one of those kids that's got that serious breakaway speed that you just kind of go wow when you see him. And if he breaks into the secondary, just wave goodbye. West Hall is going to have to do its best to keep him contained at the line of scrimmage because that kid's a real game breaker. And, not saying that West Hall can't do it, but it's going to be a tough challenge for them.
Here is hoping, at the very least, and, we really don't root for teams. Here's hoping West Hall can kind of put it together and play a game with a few less turnovers and a few less penalties and really kind of show what they can do. West Hall going to be at home taking on Stevens County. Buford at home to take on Terrell. Buford 4-0. They're beating everyone in the world. Meanwhile, Terrell is 0-2. This is one of those games that, at least on paper, looks like it might get ugly very early.
Yeah, you never want to take a team lightly or overlook a team. But I think Buford fans would be shocked if this game was anywhere near close. But I mean, look at last year. Last year's game wasn't a blowout. I mean, it was only 33-6. So,
which is a Buford game. That's not a blowout.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think and say that, but it's. You can guarantee that Buford's kids will have their hats strapped on and come ready to play.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Oconee County going to be at White County. A big game really for both teams. Oconee is 1-1 on the year. White is 1-2. They're coming off that win against West Hall. They won 26-7. They got to get some momentum going here.
Yeah, it's going to be another interesting game, kind of a clash of styles. Oconee runs a spread offense with a pretty good quarterback and Connor White, and they got a bunch of receivers that they spread the ball around to. White County, with their triple option offense, going to just try to keep the ball away from Oconee, I guess, and try to maintain possession and run the clock. White County obviously wants to build on the momentum they started last week with a win, and as we said, just a very young team growing up, and if they could get a win here, that'd be huge.
Yeah, that would be huge. Walnut Grove's on the road at Franklin County. The reason we mentioned this game, Franklin's 0-2. That's another team, we were talking about with Stevens. Franklin's another team that we really thought was going to do big things. They don't want to go 0-3 to start the year.
No, absolutely not. Against a Walnut Grove team that, really handed it to Jackson County a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you got to be careful. You start 0-3. Now, granted, again, it's not sub-region, so it really doesn't have, you can take all that and kind of wash it out the window once you start the sub-region game. But the amount of momentum and the way that you've built things, it's very hard to take a bad start and just pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So that game is going to be at Franklin County. So Franklin trying to get their first win of the year. Banks County trying to bounce back. They lost East Jackson last week, 35-7. They're going to be at Athens Christian. So Banks is on the road for this one. Athens Christian is 1-2, but Banks I think still feels like they have a chance to have a pretty good season, even what happened last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to have a hiccup at some point, and the real question is what you do when you have that hiccup, and if they bounce back and handle Athens Christian, which is not a bad Athens Christian team, then they're going to feel pretty good going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Commerce going to be at home to take on Washington Wilkes. Commerce got shut out against North Oconee. Is North Oconee seem to be a pretty good team, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. They're they're rolling right now. Got a ton of guys that can run the ball. I'm trying to think. They had, I think they had over 400 yards of offense last week. They've got at least 3 tailbacks or running backs that can do some damage. So yeah, a team to. They made the playoffs last year, and a team to watch out for, absolutely.
All right, let's take a look at the radio schedule real quick as we wrap things up. Flowery Branch going to be at home to take on Cedar Shoals. That game on AM 550 WDUN. Chestatee is back at home again this week. They're going to be hosting Dawson County. That game on FM 102.9 WDUN. And then over on 1240 ESPN Radio, it's the rivalry that everybody talks around these parts. Gainesville going to be at home to take on North Hall. So pregame for all those games, 7 o'clock. Kickoff going to be at 7:30. The Governor is going to be at City Park for that one between Gainesville and North Hall. That's going to do it for us. Morgan, appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. AccessNorthGA.com. Check it out before the games start. See the previews, and afterward, Morgan does a great job with that. Scott McIntyre. Yes, he is Mr. Jackson County. He has a very, very important weekend coming up. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. High School Sports Unlimited is done. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.